It may not be as legendary as the one by Alter from 15 years ago, but I still like it because it is more anime accurate in a way. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven with your weekly figure news fix, this time around 8th to 13th of September 2025. For this week, we don't have that many new figures on pre-order for the genuine side. This is kind of like a re-release week, though we have a couple of standouts like that Gurren Lagann Yoko Littner figure by Proof, and also a re-release of an Orchid Seed figure, which is something people really like. Meanwhile, on the third party side of things, we have a moderate number of figures to go through. Nothing too special this week, to be honest, but hey, we don't need Nikkei or Blue Archive stuff every week, otherwise your wallet wouldn't survive. Without further ado, let's move on to Hobby Link Japan to check out all of the genuine scale figures this week. Starting off with 1x4 scale, we have only one single figure. From Senran Kagura New Link, we have Yumi Nurse version by Hobby Stock at 1x4 only 32,000 yen, which is on the lower side of the scale when it comes to 1x4 pricing. Yeah, I mean 1x4 scale prices, right? And this is coming out in March next year. So I have actually reviewed one 1x4 scale figure by Hobby Stock. It is also under the Senran Kagura series, came out like 2 years ago, but that was 25,000 yen back then. So yeah, inflation, right? By today, 32k. So for a 25,000 yen 1x4 scale figure, hey, the quality surprised me. Pretty good, the quality control, even though it was one single figure. That is not saying much, but at least it gave me a rough idea on what to expect from this brand Hobby Stock, and it is plenty decent, yeah. And this figure is marked as 18 plus on Hobby Link Japan, even though there are no casted off pictures available over here, but we all know, like I'm pretty sure that this one is cast offable for the top portion, the chest region, right? You can expose her oppai because the other Senran Kagura figure that I reviewed was exactly the same. So you can remove that pair of face mask on her chest, I suppose. And Yumi has to be one of the most popular characters from this game. She gets a lot of figures. This is just another one, even though it is kind of a fan servicey one. If you are a big fan of this game, I would suggest taking a serious look at this one because number one, this is a low price for a decent 1x4 scale. And number two is that with a pose like this, sitting on the ground, the box is going to be tiny, pretty cheap to ship, even for 1x4. Moving on to the next figure, now we enter 1x6 scale territory, and I like this one a lot. Coming from Pure, edgy figure brand, 1x6 scale Taimanin RPGX Adult Yukikaze Night Party Dress version. I like the adult version, I do like it, but the lolly version is even better, you know. 34,000 yen, April release next year, and yes, this one is fully customable. You can completely undress her, full hadaka, and yeah, the body sculpt is outstanding. Very slender body over there. I love it. So it is a shame that my budget is pretty limited. Otherwise, I would eat up all these Taimanin figures. I love them, right? Regardless of which character, I want them. So this one comes as highly recommended. Pure is an excellent edgy figure brand. I would say that most edgy figure brands are quite good in quality control because, you know, it is a niche product. Not every figure collector collects 18 plus stuff. So the production quality is a lot, production quantity is a lot lower, so the quality is better. They can control things, they can monitor things better. So in general, if you see an edgy figure that you like, they are relatively safe pre-orders in general. So this one is also highly recommended if you fancy her. The next figure by Pure, we have Mujaki na Inori Clarice illustrated by Aya, 1x6 scale, 24,500 yen, November release, that is next year. So right here, this is basically an innocent looking nun that you get to undress to your liking. Yeah, not a bad figure by all means, but I prefer what a few other artists and figure brands are doing, you know, those crossovers. We have a nun wearing a long black dress that is kind of hot, showing some skin, and some of them are crossovers with demons, even with the demon horns. Of course, I don't remember the names of those figures or characters, but those are what I prefer. Even though they are more to MILF kind of characters, I like those more. For this one, hey, I love corrupting young innocent women, so I still like this one, just that there are even nicer nun figures out there. So this one is easy to recommend once again. It is pure, we are talking about a good figure brand. It is all dependent on whether you like the character design or not. Moving on to the next one, we have re-release. Union Creative calls it renewal package version because, yeah, the box and the packaging is different from the previous release. So we have Lala, Stalin, Develuk, Darkness version. From To Love Through Darkness at 1/6 scale, less than 17,000 yen, and releasing in May next year. So Union Creative is far from my favorite brand. Including To Love Through stuff, I still prefer Alter's To Love Through figures, which came out like years ago. But in terms of supporting fans of To Love Through, this is the best brand out there. Right? I've mentioned this before, like a few times. Union Creative doesn't care whether it is the main character or a very minor side character that only appeared for one episode throughout an entire season. They make the figures anyway. Yeah, the minor side characters. I mean, Union Creative is known for QC issues occasionally in the paint department, but for a figure wearing a simple black outfit like that, you don't have to worry too much, right? The likelihood of that happening is a lot lower. 1/6, 17k, great value. Yeah. Moving on to the next one, 1/6 scale, we have Yukino Shita Light Novel Volume 6 cover, version from my teen romantic comedy Snafu by Good Smile, re-release. I told you guys, re-release week. 18,000 yen April release next year. Well, it is a nice figure of Yukino, but this anime is so highly philosophical, the manga or the anime. At the same time, you know, it bored me a bit. Like, the anime was very slow paced. Yeah. Sometimes listening to their banter is interesting, but in general, sometimes I feel like falling asleep reading or watching this thing over here. And the winter outfit over here is... it is very detailed. I like it, right? And once again, Good Smile Company shows us what you can do with 1/6 scale at under 20,000 yen. They are known for that by now. This is a value buy as long as you like her. Moving on to the next one. Now we enter 1/7 scale territory. Plus sized elf. Yeah, this is presumably a manga. Presumably, I don't know what the original content is. Is it a manga or a novel? I only watched a little bit of the anime adaptation. I did not finish the series because, yeah, I'm not a fan of fat people, even though I'm pretty fat myself. So this is Elfuda by Q6, 22,800 yen, May release next year. Okay, so whether this is thick or fat, that is up for debate. I just want to make my video a bit more entertaining, I suppose, so I say stuff like that. Anyways, this figure is a bit of a surprise to me because Q6 loves making big figures like 1/6, 1/5 even. They haven't made a 1/7 scale in a long time. So my suspicion over here is, yep, that's right, licensing cost, because this is actually an anime character, so there is licensing cost to pay for. It is not just an average, no original artwork. And they were trying to aim for a price point of under 25,000 yen, including Japanese taxes. That is what I'm suspecting over here. So if the licensing cost of that particular character is low, they can make it bigger and keep it under 25k. Licensing cost expensive, but they want to maintain that 25k price point. They downsize it. That is my theory over here. Yeah, so scale in anime figures is really just, yeah, not consistent most of the time. Maybe this figure will turn out a bit bigger than expected, who knows, but 1/7 is a surprise to me. And naturally, this figure coming from Kyo6 means that it is customable, because Kyo6 is it is an ecchi figure brand, right? But only the top for this one, because it is ecchi anime, not H anime, so you can only replace her oppai. Down there, you can't undress her, unfortunately. One more thing is that this is something Kyo6 loves doing, is to offer you guys at least 2 color options. There is a second color variant over here where she is wearing gold bikini and pink shirt. For the same price, same release date of May 2025, so pick whichever you prefer. But if you are thinking of displaying this figure both dressed and undressed at the same time, then maybe get one of each and display either one casted off. Yeah, that is also an option for those of you with really deep pockets. Okay, moving on to the next one here. This is also one of the main highlights this week. 1/7 scale Azur Lane Luffy 2 Sleepy on a Busy Day version by Wing Company, 24,500 yen, releasing in May next year as well. I kind of like this one. Yeah, it is just a bunny girl figure in the end, but plenty of details to enjoy on this figure. You know, the shaved eyes she's holding over there and whatever it is in her left hand. And then there is your usual KFC manju on the base over there. So this is detailed enough, I suppose. And speaking of bunny girl figures, right? You know, the Asuma Toki from Blue Archive that I just reviewed by Max Factory like a month ago. The longer I look at her, the more I'm starting to feel a bit disappointed, or rather underwhelmed by that figure. Then I'm thinking of selling her away, even though Asuma Toki is a pretty popular character. Asuna Ichinose, I'm keeping that one. I'm holding on her. But Asuma Toki, yeah, I suppose that the blend post like this is pretty boring to look at. That made it worse. It has nothing to do with melon size or pie size, right? It really is all dependent on whether the character looks interesting to me or not. So sometimes I still go out and buy bunny girl figures because I like the character. Asuma Toki, I don't like her, but that specific version, the more I look at her, the more I'm starting to lose interest. Meanwhile, for this Luffy figure, I mean, cute lolly, I like it, but Wing Company, this brand, their figures are fine, but at the same time, they have a tendency to bargain bin. So it really is up to you whether you want to pre-order it or not. Next, we have art by Gugudo, again, very popular. Gabi, 1/7 scale by Golden Head, 21,000 yen, releasing in April next year. So this is like the second figure of the same character. The Chinese brand Otaku Toys first put the very same character on pre-order like a couple of months ago at a lower price, almost half of the price of this one by Golden Head. But at the same time, if you compare the pictures, right, of both figures, the one by the Chinese brand and the one by Golden Head Plus over here, you can kind of tell that this one is higher quality. Especially if you are experienced enough as a figure collector, sometimes just by going through the pictures, you can kind of tell this is a better product, though you have to pay for it, obviously. And Golden Head Plus, to their credit, this is a very consistent figure brand. They make great figures. So if you're willing to drop more money on your favorite artist, Gugudo, then by all means go for it, because this will turn out great. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here, PM Office A of Plum has another Love Life figure. Love Life Nijigasaki High School Idol Club Shizuku Osaka at 1/7, just under 22,000 yen after small discount, December release. So recently, just last week, they put 2 figures from this series on re-release. Oh no, those... no, I was mistaken. The one last week were Idol Master characters. Anyways, those 2 were coming out in November, I think. And this one in December. So PM Office A, as I mentioned last week, they need only 3 to 4 months to release a figure. Though I can't imagine the quantity of production being very high. That is why sometimes they re-release stuff immediately. This one over here, Love Life Nijigasaki, I won't repeat myself again, but I hate this version of Love Life so much. I find the characters to be unappealing compared to the previous installments. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here. Okay, we have Aries Boreas Grey Rat Laundry version from Mushoku Tensei 2 by Kadokawa, 18,000 yen, February release. Okay, so when I saw this figure being announced or placed on pre-order a few days back, I was like, eh. So Kadokawa has this really weird pattern where some of their figures they put on pre-order looked amazing. I will tell you to go out and pre-order it, and there were a few others in between the good ones where when you look at them, they feel really underwhelming. They look like lower quality scale figures in some way, almost low budget Chinese figure territory in terms of the detail, the paintwork and so on. Once again, you can kind of tell from the pictures alone. This is one of those lower quality looking figures from Kadokawa. Somehow I can tell because I've seen them before. I've collected them before. You know, Classroom of Elite. Yeah, Kadokawa used to make the figures back then. Classroom of Elite. Those figures were one of those lower quality ones. They bargain binned so badly. I still bought one because I wanted to do photography work on those figures. Yeah. Bad purchase, of course. So I'm not sure what is going on, and my suspicion over here is that Kadokawa contract manufactures their figures to a few different factories, different production lines. So the brand name may be the same, Kadokawa, but what is happening behind the scenes, it is more like 2 or 3 different companies rather than just one over there. And depending on which factory is behind the figure, the quality can differ greatly. So this is one of those inferior ones. Go out and get the one by Kyoskyo. Forget about this one. Yeah. Moving on to the next one, re-release again from Good Smile Company. We have Umamusume Majiro McQueen. 21,600 yen, July release next year. Umamusume is insanely popular even in my country nowadays. They even had this gathering of Umamusume cosplayers at a horse racing location. I'm not really sure what to call it. I'm not into horse racing, but they even organized events where dozens and dozens of cosplayers, they just show up at a horse racing event at a turf club and then, yeah, do whatever they do over there supporting the horses and so on. It is crazy. That is going on in my country. Fun to watch at least, even though I'm not interested in. Perhaps the girls themselves, the cosplayers themselves should start racing among themselves, no? Yeah, actually doing 100-meter sprints or something. Anyways, back to this figure over here. Since Umamusume is popular right now, it means their figures are holding on to their values, including the ones by Fat Company. So if you missed out your first chance, don't miss it again this time. This one is something you should pre-order. Moving on to the next one, I regard this figure to be one of the main highlights this week, even though it is a re-release, because this figure over here is quite highly sought after. Coming from Orchid Seed, we have 1/7 scale Dragon's Crown Sorcerers, 17,000 yen only, February release next year. So Orchid Seed is perfectly average. I would rank them B tier figure company, which means you can still feel safe, feel free to buy them or pre-order them. They are great in general, just that they are not quite at the level of the best figure brands. So with this character over here, it is basically textbook MILF wizard of some kind, right? And Max Factory also had a history of making similar figures. I'm not sure if they are from the same series, and people loved them as well. And I think the value went up quite a bit. This one over here is kind of surprising in my opinion for being re-released today in year 2025 at the same price she came out many years ago. You know, with inflation and currency depreciation going on, normally I would expect a slight increase in the price. Even if this was 22,000 yen, I would still recommend you to get it because it is a good figure. But 17k? What? Orchid Seed is way too generous over here. Yeah. You know, if there is one thing that is really nice about Japanese figure companies or Japanese companies in general, sometimes they can be too honest to a fault. There is the opportunity over there to price gouge you, they don't do it. Yeah. I can't say that for companies like Alter, but Orchid Seed over here is being a bit too nice. Okay, moving on to the next one, another re-release but by Alter. Yeah, from Hime Yaiba with Gyu Tomioka at just under 21,000 yen, 1 by 8 scale though, unfortunately. August, release next year. So I'm not sure if I like this version of Gyu, to be honest, because for some reason, the face is a bit different from what I remember watching the anime or the movie. Maybe they're following the mangaka's art style, which I think is unlikely because the Demon Slayer manga is kind of trash if I have to be honest. The whole reason why this series is popular is because of Ufotable and their magical, their top tier animations skills, right, of their stuff. Yeah, the manga was trash. And I mean, the latest Infinity Castle arc movie, you may see complaints about way too many flashbacks. Including from me, myself, I called it the Infinity Flashback arc, not Infinity Castle arc. But you can put the blame over there on the mangaka, not Ufotable. Ufotable is following the manga panel by panel, right? They are being loyal to the original source. So if the original source is trash, then the plot of the movie is going to be trash as well. Hey, at least to get eye candy, right, from all the animation and stuff. But back to this figure over here, I mean, Alter is a safe pre-order, a safe purchase. Regardless of whether you like this version of Tomioka Gyu or not, you can't deny the fact that Alter is a pretty safe figure brand to pre-order early if you want to. The figures rarely turn out bad, yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. Another re-release by Alter, 1 by 10 scale laid back camp, Yuru camp, Rinshima with Scooter, 25,000 yen, April release. I think the price went up slightly, right? Before this was 22, 23k, not by much, but I think it went up a bit. April release, and back then I wanted this figure for that motorcycle, that scooter over there, but by today, if I wanted a figure with a nice scooter, I would get that Arc Knights figure, AmiAmi, the one by, was it Amon Toys? I can't remember which brand. A Chinese brand. They have this DX version of AmiAmi with a scooter next to her. That would be the figure I want. This is nice. I mean, Yuru Camp is nice, but the anime is way too peaceful, makes me feel sleepy. I did not watch beyond season 1. Once again, Alter is a good pre-order if this is what you like, obviously. Moving up next, one of the main highlights this week, and for me personally, this is the number 1 highlight this week. So, coming from Proof, we have Gurren Lagann Yoko Littner and Yoko M Tank, 34,000 yen, after a small discount from 36k December release. Wow, 36k, which means this figure would be around 39,000 yen in AmiAmi, right? You know what? 39k is a bit much, but 34,000 yen, I would give this a serious look. So, Proof, I may not have reviewed any of the figures yet because they are not making the stuff I want to buy. But I've seen the reviews at least, and they are 2B from Nier Automata. Not my favorite 2B figure, but it turns out great based on the reviews and the pictures I've seen. So this brand is coming up, like producing decent stuff. And in my opinion, this Yoko Littner figure over here, it may not be as legendary as the one by Alter from 15 years ago. Yep, 15 years ago, where she's holding her sniper rifle like that. That figure was legendary, still is today. And the prices remain high. So that Yoko Littner had nicer colors in a way. I think Alter's paintwork was still nicer looking, especially how they painted their hair a bit more gradients, more weathering, you know. Her hair is a bit red, a bit orange at the same time. Unlike Proof over here, her head is just red color all over. Shading is not that obvious. Maybe there's some of it, but not as obvious as the Alter style painting. But I still like it because it is more anime accurate in a way. If it makes any sense, this is more accurate to what we see in the anime adaptation. Yeah, more loyal to the original source. So that can't be a bad thing. And there is plenty of shading on the stockings anyway. It is not like there is no shading on this figure. And the best part is that in terms of pose and complexity, This is way superior to the Ultra one from 15 years ago. So I am having a hard time deciding whether this is better or the Ultra one is better. I'm leaning slightly towards this one, even though some of you may disagree with me. But to me, this is the most epic Yoko Littner scale figure in the past decade. We haven't gotten many figures of her since then, but this is a really good one in my opinion, yeah. And if I were a fan of Gurren Lagann, I would not think twice pulling the trigger on this one, pre-ordering it early. Yeah, this is a really good figure of her. Okay, moving on to the next one from GGG, Gundam Girls' Generation, under Mega House. Luna Maria Hawk from Gundam Seed Freedom, 21,000 yen, March release. I loved the movie so much that I have watched it like 5 times by now. I'm not embarrassed to admit it. So, Luna Maria Hawk is actually one of the few female characters in Gundam Seed that I really like. And I feel like the writers behind Gundam Seed did not do her enough justice. She is always playing second fiddle next to the main characters. And then she is always piloting trashier robots, trashier mobile suits, or second-hand stuff. She never gets her own personal customized prototype Gundam, you know? Yeah, which is unfortunate because I wish that, you know, the writers would do her more justice, like make her appear more skillful in battle than what was being depicted throughout the 2 seasons and the movie. And her character design, I like it. I like her a lot, yeah. So, to see Mega House come up with this figure of Luna Maria Hawk, I can't help but feel a little bit disappointed because this one looks like a slightly better low-budget figure. I mean, it still looks like an expensive scale figure with all of the heavy shading, heavy paint, heavy weathering paintwork over here, very obvious on her pink hair, on her uniform. The paintwork is definitely premium scale figure quality level, but the pose and what is this, man? What is this pose? Maybe she is floating in the hangar, right? Zero gravity in outer space. I get it. This pose is possible if there is no gravity, but it still looks pretty weird. I don't know why. And knowing Mega House and their non-scale figures, this has to be as small as 1/8 scale figures. So yeah, quite a shame. Could be better. I feel like she's not getting enough justice over here. Another thing about this figure is that it is one of those kinds of figures where it only looks good from a very specific angle. You look at her from this side, her face looks a bit weird. Yeah, that's the problem over here. And I'm not sure if we will get some kind of plastic rod supporting her knee. Like, what is up with this angle? If they did not give her a funny pose like this, then we won't end up with something leaning at 45 degrees and potentially requiring additional support. Like, what the heck, man? Her leg is almost 90 degrees horizontal, right? And the entire figure is diagonal 45. What the heck? Okay, moving on to the next one here. This is a continuation of last week. Last week we had a Ranma half figure from Kotobukiya. Now we have Shampoo, 18,000 yen as well. April release next year. So classic anime, which means low detail character designs. So obvious over here. Like, look at her hair, just a blob of plastic and a few lines over here. That is the one thing I did not like about older classic anime character designs. But yeah, that was how things were like in the past, right? Things get better over time. Anyways, classic anime fans, especially Ranma Half, they're getting new figures that are great quality, so there's nothing to hate over here. Nice work though, Kotobukiya. I think the figure looks amazing. The colors, oh, it really pops. Moving on to the last figure on Hobby Link Japan low budget figure, Mega House GEM series Naruto Shippuden Tenohira Sasuke. Yep. Palm size figures again, tiny figures, 7,200 yen, releasing in March next year. No comments from me. I don't know what to say with this one. Though, yeah, pretty detailed actually, the lower half of his body. Right, moving on to AmiAmi. We only have 2 figures. This is a very chill week. So before I proceed, if you are enjoying this video so far, please do give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content. Help this channel grow, right? Yeah. Alright, back to this figure over here. This is not an exclusive, just that it is an Animaster figure, which means HLJ is a bit slow. They will list it next week. I mean this coming week. Wait a few more days, right? So we have After School Art Instruction Rumi, 1/6 scale, 8,000 yen only, July release next year. That pretty hot art teacher in your school. Never exist in real life. Doesn't exist, man. So what else is there to say other than telling you to go and get one, right? Animaster's low budget figures are incredible, and I couldn't help but notice the shading, the heavy shading on her black stockings. That is totally the kind of thing I love seeing on any anime figure. So yes, this character tickles my fancy. She is kind of my type of woman in a way, like the hairstyle, the body shape and everything, kind of perfect. Everything is about the right size, you know? I mean, yes, I love my lollies, I've said it so many times, but when it comes to matured looking women, this is pretty close to my type. So I want one. I don't think I will pre-order her too early, but I want one. I'll buy it after release. And the next figure on AmiAmi, the last one here is from their mature section. So we have comic Anturium 10th Anniversary Grateful Bloom. Pin up Shina Kisaragi 1/6 scale by Rocket Boy, which means native group, right? A branch of native, which also means indirectly it is kinda exclusive in a way. Native store exclusive and available in only select Japanese stores where AmiAmi is one of them. So this one is going for 33,000 yen. Rocket Boy figures have never been cheap and releasing in May next year. Well, generic cute girl that appears shy. A very common theme that really works all the time. The selling point of this figure, in my opinion, is not the oppai or the secret garden down there. It is the face, the blush, right? Nicely executed over there. So this one is worth getting if you collect ecchi figures. Rocket Boy figures are easy to recommend. And moving on to our last stop, which is Ninin Game for Forge Japan, Be Full Insight stuff. We have 6 of them this week. The first one is Big Oppai Housewife and the Secret Swimming Lesson Noah. 1/6 scale, 22,000 yen, releasing in March. And then we have the, this is by Forge Japan before I forget, which means this is all you get. If you want to display her Hadaka, you can get the Insight version. Yeah, 22k as well, releasing in March. The next one here, Bishonen, this is a boy, this is a male, but for gender equality reasons, I'm going to censor his chest as well. 10th Dancer Nazim, 1/6 scale, 22k, releasing in March next year. No, it isn't about gender equality. It is about AI being too stupid to differentiate male and female, right? So I'm playing it safe over here. Moving on to the next one, we have, wow, the swallowing ritual of the vulgar village Sumine. Yeah, too bad I have to censor her mouth just in case, you know, YouTube and their AI. Yeah, she is tasting out the human protein, and this one is going for 22k, releasing in March as well. What the heck? Insight is like releasing 20 figures a month. Seriously. The next one here, okay, there are 2 versions of this one. Koma Hack Goku 1/7 scale, 16k only because 1/7. And there is the 1/5 scale version for 24k, releasing in March. And that is all for genuine figures on pre-order this week. Now we move on to third-party resin figures, making use of OSGK, which is also this channel's partner, just like Hobby Link Japan. So if you're interested in pre-ordering or purchasing literally anything, not just anime figures, please to make use of my links down in the description below to enter these websites as a way of supporting this channel. Sometimes a link will also appear on the top right corner of the video. You can also click on that as well. Yeah. So starting off with this thing over here. This is just a quick mention, not exactly a figure, but man, this is actually licensed official Azur Lane merch. And even though it is not a figure, this thing is so interesting or amusing that I need to talk a little bit about it. Granted, I do admit that I did not bother to check whether this thing is already available in AmiAmi and HLJ and everywhere else, right? I just happened to see this first on OzGK a few days back. So this is where we'll discuss it. Coming from Yostar with Azur Lane, Hip Sway, Sovietsky, Sayus class, and Shaking Chest, Mogador class. Looks like they go for $69 each. That's pretty pricey, man. Could be cheaper in Japanese websites, who knows, right? So, releasing in February next year. And basically, this is a smartphone stand, I suppose. With the example they're giving us, a smartphone stand. If you have a colleague at your workplace who will be celebrating a birthday very soon, February or later than that, then you can give this as a present. Hopefully you don't get fired for it. Okay, moving on to the next one, the figures. So the first section is the GB figures. We have one single Anya this week cosplaying as Sang Jinwoo from Solo Leveling. $113 depending. Okay, each of them are $113, right? So of course you get the pink hair and the black hair, Sang Jinwoo's hair color. I'm so frustrated that season 3 is coming out in like year 27 or so. Not even next year. I want it faster. Well, if you look at the full character design of Sang Jinwoo, a pretty bland looking male character just wearing a jeans, white shirt and a coat. So I don't know why would you want to cosplay a boring looking character like that. Yeah, so I don't find this crossover to be particularly interesting, or even worth your attention. But those shadows next to her, they are pretty nice, I admit that. Moving on to the next one, we have a Night Light, voice controlled one. Interesting. One Piece Gobin by Happy Life Studio, and this is apparently licensed. $20, October release next month. There's a lamp inside. So do you sleep with a night lamp? Or you sleep in pitch black conditions? Let me know down in the comments below. This is something I've never thought of asking anyone, but now that I see this thing over here, I thought it would be fun to ask this question. For me, I can sleep in either conditions, whether with a bit of light or completely pitch black. Yes, I have no problems sleeping. But if you are banging someone, then don't do it in pitch black conditions. I mean, it won't be fun being unable to see anything at all. Right, moving on to the next one here. Now we enter anime character section. Yes, anime, right? So this one over here by Sparky and Mowan Technology Studio, licensed figure. The Legend of Chin Chi Lian, 1x4 scale, no price yet. September release next year. Okay, so this title over here, The Legend of Chi or something, it is actually a Chinese animated series. Yeah, I actually did some homework before making this video. Sometimes I forget. So it is Chinese anime in a way. Fortunately, we get an open eye version of her because I don't like my figures with closed eyes like this. Well, unless that is what the personality of the character is like. You know, in some anime, you have this character who is normally very gentle and his or her eyes are always closed, but yeah, when the eyes do open, you know things are going to get really serious. So, hey, just traditional Chinese character over here. And it is weird that they are taking a deposit of $29 when it is 1x4 scale. Unless you're telling me this is a low budget 1x4 scale figure, then it makes sense. Yeah, a bit weird. Moving on to the next one, another licensed figure from a Chinese anime, more like Chinese CGI animation. Yeah, so this is by Jomatal Studio, Heaven's 9 Songs, Yanling Ji, 1x4 scale, no price yet, but you can put down a $147 deposit. Releasing in September next year. Looks pretty cool though, the character design, and you have two different arms. Can display her. Both poses are actually quite nice. I can't decide which pose is better because both are very nice. Oh man, look at this base. Fantastic. Are there any LEDs inside? Oh, that is pretty, man. That is a pretty face. CGI animation, but at the same time also looks like game character design to me. Yeah, quite nice. Right, moving on to the next one, we have One Piece Seraph Empress as Snake from Superhero Studio. So, regular version without bonus begins at $251 and then can go up to $331. Seraph Empress, so this is like lolly version of Boa Hancock, isn't it? I don't watch the anime, so I don't know anything. Yeah, definitely Boa Hancock, this one. Right, no comment. Moving on to the next one, we have two figures of Yamato from One Piece. The first one is the nicer one by Buster Studio. So the regular version without the big base over there is only $166 at 1/6 scale, releasing in March next year. And then there is the deluxe version with this big giant wolf thing over here for $425. It has been a while since the last time we saw a new figure of Yamato. Yamato used to get many different figures, right? Like you are spoiled for choice which one to get. It has been a while, but this is a really good looking figure of her. She is also one of those characters where the third parties never screw up her face. Yeah, they are very experienced with this character over here. So this is something relatively safe to get. The next One Piece Yamato figure here is by GTR Studio. Okay, so there is a lighted version. Oh, okay, they are putting lights in the base, I suppose. $276 without LED, $249. Why bother, right? Add $20 and get the one with LED. No release date. The scale is 1/7. See, the face looks pretty good. And is that real fabric? I can't really tell, but if this is resin and not real cloth, it looks very realistic, man. This red color cloth over here. I can't really tell from this picture. It looks like cloth to me, to be honest. It looks like cloth, but there is a chance it isn't. And I would prefer if it is not. I can't be sure, man. Yeah. These are all battle damage effect parts, right? The clothes are being torn apart. And I really wish that, the genuine anime figures, the PVC figures, we get more figures of characters with battle damage. Like scratches, burns, injuries that are intentionally painted on the figure. Of course, it is based off what we saw in the manga, in anime, or the game, but it would be nice to get figures like that. Up next, we have CYZ Studio, Naruto Cover Goddess Series Hinata. Basically, Hinata being a model for a magazine cover. $293. That is 1/4. Releasing this December. I'm not quite sure why I would want something like this. Oh, come on, give us a brighter picture, what the heck. Okay, the figure looks better than I expected with that amazing looking base over there, but I really can't see much details when the pictures are so dark, Oh, that Oni mask is a nice touch. Nice addition. Okay, the figure looks better than I expected. So what does this tell us? If you want to sell a product, give your potential customers better pictures. Like, oh my god, this thing is so dark. Oh, not many pictures. This is the last one. I couldn't scroll anymore. Okay, nothing too special, but still a good looking figure for under $300. Moving on to the next one here, we have Aura Studio Dragon Ball Android 18. So this one, there are two versions available. $118 for version A and $118 for version B. The pose is slightly different, as you can see. The face is different as well. And you can get both for $162, which is most likely you're getting swappable parts. You're not getting two entire figures, but that is fine. Imagine buying 2 or more figures for every character, then your shelf will fill up very quickly. So let's have a closer look. Oh, I couldn't zoom in. Okay, the pics. Not bad. Pink bodysuit, but alright, not bad, but I've seen better. The height of the figure is 32 cm if I'm not mistaken. Version A, version B, there we go. And the face is a bit different as well. Quite hard to choose, isn't it? Both are actually not too different from one another. Yep, height 32 centimeters, there we go. Okay, for the asking price, it is acceptable. It is a low budget resin figure. Moving on to the next one from 30. This is a licensed action figure brand actually. They make all kinds of stuff including mecha stuff. Yep, licensed brand from China. So we have Kamado Nezuko from Demon Slayer, 1/6 scale action figure, $163 releasing in March next year. No action figures like this, they are really giving the Japanese companies a run for their money. Fabric outfit, you know what that tells us? We can finally undress Nezuko. Where is... Yeah, I'm looking for this faceplate. Alright. I wish that the veins on her head over here had a bit more shading. Maybe there is, but I couldn't tell from this picture over here. You know Kotobukiya's Nezuko, that one was a bit disappointing because she looked less detailed than expected compared to the official product pictures because there is almost no shading, including on her veins, on her head over here and the hair, yeah, stuff like that. This Nezuko is a bit outdated because she now doesn't look like that anymore, right? She's not biting on that bamboo anymore because she does not need it anymore. This is based off season 1 itself. Yeah, that Temari ball, I still remember it. Anyways, still a really convincing package over here. Oh. Now, when people see this faceplate, they are going to buy this thing, man. Well, 1/6 scale, man. Great price, $163. Effect parts, yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. We have 2 figures from Sailor Moon. The first, oh no, the next one is Cardcaptor Sakura, my bad. This one is Sailor Moon, Ballet Girl Usagi from Verve Studio, $231 at 1/4. 1/4, okay. But I think it makes sense. The figure is low detail. No release date yet. Can't say I like it. I've seen better work from other third-party brands when it comes to Tsukino Usagi. Yeah, realistic face, but even the outfit, the hair, everything else does not look like a 1/4 scale to me. It feels like a generic 1/7 or 1/6 scale. They just made it big without increasing the amount of details of the on the figure. So, not a very nice figure of her, unfortunately. The next one here, Cardcaptor Sakura Ribbon Sakura from Dragonstone Studio, $143 at 1/7, March 2026. Of course, I don't know if this is a recast of an official GK from Japan, but I would say very high chances it is, which means this would be indirectly a bootleg. Yes, but people are queuing up for them anyway because those GKs from Japan, yeah, 200 units, 250 units max. No normal person will ever be able to get their hands on them. So you have products like this, unfortunately. And people will still buy them because to the average figure collector out there, they just want the figure. They don't care how they get it. Sometimes things are like that. It is a great looking figure of Sakura, man. It looks amazing. Yeah, quite a shame that stuff like this ends up being very limited unless a genuine figure brand would buy the license from the sculptor and then they go ahead and mass produce it, of course. Moving on to the next one here, we have 2 figures from Chainsaw Man. Both are resin. Well, I suppose that with the new Chainsaw Man movie, where she appears to play a major role from the looks of it, yeah, we are getting a lot of figures of her from third parties. The first one here is by Chenyu Studio, $215 at 1/6 scale, releasing in June next year. The face is good, but is she the innocent looking? I'm not sure. I watched the season 1, all of it. I did not like the show at all. I did not like the anime at all. Though the Japanese are saying that the newly released movie is quite a lot better, you know, the compilation. There are not many pictures yet, so this is the only full picture we get. It is fine, but you know, feels a tad bit expensive because of how plain the figure looks. I think the problem over here is the way they designed it. A plain apron in front, so it feels like you're looking at something lacking in detail. The next resin figure over here, yeah, fan service, of course, by Dream Doll Studio, $184, 1/6 scale. Is this customable? I don't think so, unfortunately. And releasing in March next year. I feel like I'm looking at a low effort figure. Once again, some third-party brands are like that. They can make the figure more detailed and better, but they don't bother to, because why would they do that when all they had to do is give you guys a little bit of a thirst trap and you guys would queue up for the figure. Yeah, I can't say I can recommend this one. Moving on to the next one here. This is one of the main highlights this week. And unsurprisingly, it has to be Huixiang Studio, though this is pretty uncommon for this brand. 1/6 scale. They tend to do 1/4. Yeah. So we have Makise Kurisu from Steins Gate, $286. Not exactly cheap for a 1/6 scale, but you do get a lot of stuff. Release date is unknown yet. So you get Makise Kurisu and that table with all the PC and so on. I feel like it is a shame for a figure like this to be a resin. This one would be amazing as a PVC figure, even if the scale is smaller at 1/7. Yeah. Something like this needs to be made in 1/7 PVC. And look at the shading on the hair over here. Oh yes, this is delicious painting. On the jacket as well, man, very nice paint work from Huixiang Studio. There was even one episode of my third-party resin figure brand review where I made this brand my highlight, Huixiang Studio, because they are pretty consistent, they are churning out good stuff. So this is a brand you can feel safe to go for. They are doing really well. So this one is one of the highlights this week. Moving on to the next figure, we have an edgy figure of Sylphiet Greyrat from Mushoku Tensei by Crown Studio. There is a regular version and a pregnant version. Yeah, big belly, because some people have fetish for that. So the pictures over here are already censored by OSGK, and since it is rated 18+ by them, yeah, I suppose that you're getting the full package over here. Both the top and the bottom are exposed, which is a great thing because we don't get many third-party figures like this nowadays. So if you want edgy third-party figure brands who lure your waifus, check out this one because Sylphiet's face on this version by Crown Studio looks pretty good. Yeah, the face is the most important part in the end. Moving on to the next one here, Marin Kitagawa again by BGA Studio. So this is available in 1/6 and 1/4. 1/4 scale is $309. 1/6 scale is going for $186. So pick your poison. How big do you want your lewd waifu to be? And BGA Studio actually got the face of Marin Kitagawa right this time around, you know. Many third parties can't get Marin's face right, but this one looks very good, I have to say. Of course, they had to inflate her body proportions. The Oppai and Oshiri both are a tad bit too big, way too big. But some people just want their anime waifus to be more curvy, so you get stuff like this. Whether you are okay with something like that, that is up to you. For me, I prefer the character designs to be more authentic, like pretty much similar to the original source material. I don't like my waifus with their chest inflated just for the sake of it. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next one. This is an update from a figure I covered roughly 2 weeks ago by Meng Yaxiang Studio, a brand which you should keep an eye on because they're making excellent stuff. So we have Panty, stocking, and garter belt over here, a set of 3. Now they are finally painted, and we have the prices as well. The stage version, the bunny girl version, I would say, is going for $419 for the entire set. Sofa version, this is the one I like a lot. $347 for this pair over here. Chibi version, set of two, $215. The deluxe version, everything, all three sets for $684, which is a bit excessive. If I had to choose, it would be the sofa version, the one you're looking at on screen right here. And guess what? I'm not sure why she is wearing two pantsu over here. I mean, she is obviously not hadaka underneath, you know. She is not going full commando. You can see the white underwear over here. But another one right here. What the heck? Remove the one underneath her skirt, please. Mungyashang Studio, remove it. Face, incredible. On both figures. Man, I kind of want it. This is my favorite. This one is fine too. Looks very nice. Yeah, this is fine as well. Okay, moving on to the next one here. Now we enter original character territory. Only one set of figures over here by Sugar Blade Studio, Lazy Bad Girl. And since, once again, this is original character, their own characters, it means they are licensed. $626 for a pair. You can get them separately. Each of them will be going for $345. Okay. Of course, if you buy the set to get a discount, it is cheaper. And this figure, you know what? Yeah, it feels like buying the set makes more sense. Anyways, not my kind of thing. Very big, very thick ones, not my kind of thing. But they tend to be pretty popular. Moving on to the next one. VTuber character over here, Cecilia Immergreen by Arne Studio, $188 at 1/6 scale. No release date yet. Actually, there is no scale. The height is 25 centimeters. So what do you think about her face? Looks good or looks bad? Let me know. Because I know nothing about this VTuber. I don't even know what she looks like. But solely from the face standpoint, like, I'm looking at a character that I know virtually nothing about. I think it looks fine, but whether it is accurate to the actual character or not, I have no clue. Yeah. Okay, Arne Studio has made VTuber figures before. This is not their first. Moving on to the next one, Juri Wanja Studio is back with their Liut Pokemon furry figures. We have a Western Dancer Magical Meowscarada for $79 only and coming out in March next year. They are printing money with these things as far as I know. So Juri Wanja Studio is also known as Mocking Studio, as you can see from the picture over here. Moving on to the next one here, Yujai Wensing Studio is back with their 1x3 scale dolls, which look terrible most of the time, but people buy them. This is My Shiranui from KOF, $441, 1x3 scale, releasing in December. And of course, I would tell you, don't bother. The face does not even look like My Shiranui. Right, don't have much else to say otherwise. Moving on to the next one, we actually have two figures of Melusine, surprisingly, from FGO. Both are by YJ Studio, which I've never heard of. First time I'm seeing this name. So this version over here, 1x7 scale, $326. Ouch. No release date yet. And with this figure being 1x7 instead of 1x6, I would say kinda sus, because that is the scale of GKs from artists in Japan. So who knows, this might be. Yep, it might be a recast. Who knows? I'm just being suspicious. Okay, I will just keep the ones by Kyoskyo and Good Smile. Those two are amazing. The ruler version by Good Smile, I think it is almost out. And the one by Kyoskyo, Melusine, I want those two figures really badly. This is not worth over $300, man. Not worth it. The next one here, well, not exactly Melusine, but I still call her Melusine. What? Fate Stay Night? It's not Fate Stay Night. Come on, man. How can I make a mistake like this? Okay, Lancelot Fairy Knight, 1/6 scale for this one, and December release this December, $128. Now that is more like it. This is the fan service version of Melocene, but it is cheap, so you may want to take a good look at this one, where the Pansu stretching pose. I can't remember which brand did this pose, but yeah, it isn't the first time I've seen a Pansu pose like this. It has to be based on the Yuzuriha Inori pose, right, where she's playing with the rubber band of some kind. I think it is based off that. And then someone made a meme by photoshopping it, replacing the rubber band with Pansu, and then by today we have multiple figures with this Pansu stretching pose. Right, moving on to the next one here, Honkai Star Rail Kafka by Mushoku Studio. That's hard to pronounce. Okay, so the price is $167 for the one on top. The one bottom is a bit cheaper. The swimsuit version is going for $148. Yeah, I will go for the regular version on top, obviously. Swimsuit version is just, bikini only. Way too common, way too low detail, so I would pick the one with the black dress. The face looks fine. It is okay. Right, moving on to the next one from New Age Studio with Honkai Impacted Alicia again. And there are two versions over here. They call it daytime version and nighttime version. And obviously the nighttime version is nicer because more fan service. You can get both for $312. But if you buy them separately, each of them $188 each. Yeah, more expensive, I know. But once again, you have to ask yourself, do you really need both, right? For me, I would settle for the nighttime version. You and your colleague doing it at a workplace after work, after everyone has left the office. Yeah, that sort of thing actually happens in real life. Right. Face-wise, very nice. No complaints from me. Moving on to the next one here, we have two figures from Blue Archive. The first one is Sorasaki Hina, $248 at 1/6 scale, releasing in March next year. We don't have much pictures, unfortunately. They are giving us an actual picture of the head over here, like the actual product picture, just to convince you to pre-order a bit early. I'm not sure if I like the backdrop, the base over here. Yeah, it makes the figure look better, I suppose. Well, not a bad figure overall. Moving on to the next one here, we have Blue Archive Mizuki Hasumi by Migin Studio. Another resin figure brand that really makes a lot of figures, releasing a lot of stuff. They have been around for years and a brand that I can actually recommend. They are far from the best, but they are consistent somewhat. So this one is going for $184 and she is getting some sunscreen rubbed on her by whatever that thing is on her backside. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like this one. Yeah, not a fan of the detail level on the figure, I suppose, because it is a swimsuit figure in the end, releasing in March next year. And the last figure for today, this is not bad for a bunny girl figure. We have A-Gear from Azur Lane by Modo Studio, available in 1/6 scale at $166 or 1/4 scale at $274. That is a great price for a 1/4 scale resin figure. The face looks pretty good as well, and I regard this to be a main highlight this week, together with that Makise Kurisu earlier. Yeah, I like this too a little bit more than the Blue Archive figure earlier. And the third highlight figure this week for the resin section, I would say that Alicia earlier. Yeah, the office outfit version. And that is all for figures on pre-order this week. Which one catches your interest? Let me know down in the comments below. And until then, if you enjoyed this video, please do give this video a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. Until then, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.